The flickering gaslight cast long, wavering shadows across Darwin's study, painting the walls with shapes that seemed almost alive. The air was thick with the scent of old paper and ink, and the quiet ticking of a clock was the only sound that broke the silence. On his desk, books and fossil sketches crowded every surface, forming a chaotic landscape of knowledge and curiosity. Each page, each drawing, hinted at mysteries waiting to be unraveled. Charles Darwin, already renowned for his revolutionary theory of natural selection, sat hunched over the outline of a dinosaur fossil, a creature of impossible scale and unimaginable age. Its bones seemed to whisper secrets from a world lost to time. This was no finch or barnacle, no familiar creature from his travels. This was a dinosaur, and it posed a profound enigma that threatened to upend everything he thought he knew. Darwin's theory depended on slow, gradual change, a branching tree of life where every species was connected by countless tiny steps. He believed nature's story was one of patient transformation. But dinosaurs seemed to defy this narrative. They appeared suddenly in the fossil record, grew to monstrous sizes, and then vanished just as abruptly. Where were their ancestors in the rocks? Where were their descendants among living creatures? The silence in the rocks was deafening, a void where answers should have been. Layer after layer, the earth seemed to withhold its secrets. Critics seized on these gaps, loudly proclaiming that dinosaurs were proof of special creation, not evolution. Newspapers and lecture halls buzzed with controversy, and Darwin's ideas were put on trial in the court of public opinion. For Darwin, these bones were more than scientific curiosities. They were a direct challenge to his life's work, a riddle that gnawed at his confidence and kept him awake at night. He returned to the drawings night after night, baffled by their diversity. Two-legged hunters, four-legged giants, armored tanks with spikes and plates. The sheer variety of forms was staggering, unlike anything seen in living animals. How could such a wild kingdom rise and fall so quickly? The Earth's history seemed to leap and stutter, not flow smoothly as he had imagined. The mystery went beyond simple classification. It questioned the very tempo and rhythm of evolution itself. Was nature's progress always slow and steady, or could it sometimes leap forward in great bursts? Dinosaurs didn't fit the slow, branching pattern he envisioned. Their sudden appearance and disappearance suggested a different story, one that science was not yet ready to tell. Their rise and fall gnawed at him, a puzzle he would never solve, a question that lingered in the back of his mind, haunting his every thought. The dinosaur dilemma was more than a scientific gap. It was a threat to the very foundation of his theory, a crack in the elegant structure he had built. Darwin knew that a single, unexplained fact could topple even the most beautiful idea. The weight of that knowledge pressed on him, making every unanswered question feel monumental. The question of the dinosaurs haunted him, echoing through the empty halls of museums and the quiet corners of his study, a riddle left for future generations to solve, and a reminder that nature's story is always more mysterious than we imagine. The 19th century was an age of progress and discovery, a time when steam engines roared and cities grew at a dizzying pace. The world was changing rapidly, and with it, so too was humanity's understanding of the natural world. In the midst of this transformation, England was gripped by a fossil frenzy. Fossils became the latest obsession, captivating the imaginations of both scientists and the public alike. Men and women alike flocked to quarries and cliffs, not just in search of coal or precious minerals, but for colossal alien bones, remnants of creatures that had once ruled the earth, the dinosaurs. Into this world of wonder and upheaval, Charles Darwin released his groundbreaking book, On the Origin of Species. He proposed a radical idea, that all life was connected by common descent, evolving slowly over vast stretches of time. Darwin's theory elegantly explained the similarities between finches, whales, and countless other creatures. But the dinosaurs, these gigantic, mysterious beasts, seemed to defy easy explanation. The first described dinosaurs, like Megalosaurus and Iguanodon, were met with a mixture of awe, excitement, and deep confusion. Their bones hinted at a lost world, utterly unlike anything alive today. It was Richard Owen, a brilliant and sometimes controversial scientist, who coined the term dinosaur. He saw them not as products of evolution, but as a separate, superior creation, giants set apart from the rest of life. Many Victorians, influenced by religious beliefs and dramatic fossil finds, saw these ancient bones as evidence of catastrophic resets, sudden, divine interventions that wiped the slate clean, rather than the slow, gradual change Darwin described. The public marveled at these monstrous skeletons, filling museums and lecture halls. Critics, meanwhile, saw in them proof of divine intervention, challenging the very foundation of Darwin's ideas. For Darwin, the immense age of the fossil record supported his theory of evolution. Yet the dinosaurs' sheer uniqueness and sudden appearance in the rocks posed a troubling problem. These ancient reptiles didn't fit the expected evolutionary patterns. Their forms were so bizarre, their disappearance so abrupt, that they seemed to break the rules of gradual change. Their anatomy and variety were unlike anything alive, with features that seemed to belong to another world entirely. Scientists puzzled over their strange teeth, massive limbs, and armored bodies. The dinosaur craze swept through Victorian society, filling newspapers with sensational headlines and sparking heated debates. These discoveries highlighted the very gaps in the fossil record that Darwin couldn't yet explain. For Darwin and his contemporaries, these fossils were both a triumph, proof of life's deep history, and a torment, raising questions that science was not yet ready to answer. The story of life, as revealed by these ancient bones, was far more complicated and mysterious than anyone had ever imagined, hinting at a prehistoric world still waiting to be understood. The biggest problem dinosaurs posed for Darwin was the fossil record's gaps. His theory predicted countless transitional forms, but the rocks were silent. Dinosaurs seemed to burst onto the scene, already large and specialized. Where were their primitive ancestors? Critics argued this absence proved special creation, not evolution. Darwin countered that the fossil record was incomplete, but it was a hard sell. He had to rely on faith that future discoveries would fill the gaps. The problem wasn't just origins. Dinosaurs' relationships to other animals were unclear. If they were reptiles, where were the links to lizards and crocodiles? Their abrupt extinction left no obvious heirs. Evolution was supposed to be continuous, but dinosaurs looked like a dead end. The fossil record's silence was a powerful argument against gradualism. Dinosaurs were a biological puzzle. How could animals so massive even exist? Victorian science imagined them as sluggish, cold-blooded giants, needing water to support their bulk. But if they were so inefficient, how did they dominate for 150 million years? Their diversity was staggering: long-necked sauropods, armored stegosaurs, horned ceratopsians, fierce carnivores. Darwin's theory explained diversity, but the scale of dinosaur variety seemed explosive. Dinosaurs felt too extreme, too monstrous, to fit the same evolutionary rules as modern animals. Without understanding their biology, Darwin couldn't connect them to the rest of life. The dinosaurs' disappearance was the greatest mystery of all. In the rocks, one layer teemed with dinosaurs. The next, they were gone. For a theory based on gradual change, this was a crisis. Darwin preferred slow, local extinctions, not global catastrophes. The idea of a sudden mass extinction felt unscientific, too much like divine wrath. 19th century theories couldn't explain the scale or speed of the extinction. Why did dinosaurs vanish but mammals survive? The abrupt end looked like a sawed-off branch on the tree of life. Dinosaurs seemed like a failed experiment, a dead end. The story of their end was a gap Darwin couldn't bridge. Darwin was limited by the science of his time. Paleontology was new, dating rocks was crude, and genetics was a mystery. He lacked the tools to explain dinosaur origins or extinction. The idea of asteroid impacts or moving continents was unimaginable. Darwin laid the groundwork, but the dinosaur puzzle would have to wait for future science. The first crack in the dinosaur dilemma came with the discovery of Archaeopteryx, a remarkable fossil that displayed both dinosaur and bird features, including delicate feathers and a reptilian skeleton. This ancient creature, with its blend of traits, challenged the boundaries between what we thought were two separate worlds, the age of dinosaurs and the era of birds. Darwin's ally, Thomas Huxley, boldly argued that Archaeopteryx was the long-sought missing link between dinosaurs and birds. He saw in its anatomy a bridge across time, but most scientists of the era dismissed the idea, clinging to the belief that dinosaurs and birds were unrelated. For decades, the image of dinosaurs as slow, lumbering, scaly brutes dominated museums and textbooks, shaping public imagination and scientific thought alike. As a result, the intriguing dinosaur-bird connection faded from scientific view, relegated to the fringes of paleontology. But a century later, a new chapter began. Fossils unearthed in China's Liaoning province would change everything we thought we knew about dinosaurs. Dozens of small, exquisitely preserved feathered dinosaurs were discovered, some with simple hair-like filaments, others with complex, branching feathers remarkably similar to those of modern birds. These creatures weren't flying birds, but agile, fast-moving, warm-blooded predators. They hunted, ran, and lived much like birds do today, blurring the line between dinosaur and bird even further. Scientists realized that feathers first evolved not for flight, but for insulation, helping these dinosaurs regulate their body temperature in changing climates. This groundbreaking evidence shattered the old view. Some dinosaurs were not just dynamic and bird-like. They were the direct ancestors of birds. The mystery of dinosaur descendants was finally solved. Birds, from sparrows to eagles, are living dinosaurs, carrying ancient traits into the present. The abrupt end of the dinosaurs was really a transformation, a remarkable evolutionary journey from giant reptiles to the birds we see today. The tree of life hadn't been cut down by extinction. Instead, it had branched in a bold new direction, giving rise to a lineage that still thrives. Every bird we see today is a living link to the Mesozoic, a direct descendant of the mighty dinosaurs that once ruled the Earth. Darwin's missing heirs were all around him, perched in trees, soaring overhead, and singing in the dawn. He just didn't know it. Today, the greatest evolutionary gap has been bridged, revealing the astonishing truth. The age of dinosaurs never truly ended. It simply took flight. While fossils solved the mystery of dinosaur descendants, another team tackled their extinction. In the 1970s, scientists found a global layer of iridium at the dinosaur extinction boundary. Iridium is rare on Earth, but common in asteroids. The evidence pointed to a colossal asteroid impact 66 million years ago. The impact would have blocked sunlight, collapsed food chains, and triggered mass extinction. At first, the idea seemed too catastrophic, but evidence mounted, shocked quartz, tektites, and finally, the Chicxulub crater in Mexico. The extinction wasn't slow decline, it was a sudden cosmic accident. Dinosaurs died out, mammals survived, not by fitness, but by luck. The asteroid reset evolution's clock. Darwin's greatest mystery was solved by geology, not biology. Darwin and the dinosaurs show how science evolves. The gaps in his knowledge weren't failures, but opportunities for discovery. Dinosaurs weren't exceptions. They were spectacular examples of evolution. We now know their origins, biology, and that birds are their living legacy. The puzzles that troubled Darwin have been solved by generations of scientists. Science thrives on mysteries. They drive progress. What we don't know is as important as what we do. Darwin would be astonished by feathered dinosaurs and asteroid impacts. The dinosaur dilemma, once evolution's biggest mystery, is now one of its greatest triumphs. What mysteries will future scientists solve next?